It's the EMMO EWILD C2 electric bike. It's a class 2 electric bike, as it has a throttle and it's got a 750 watt motor. Class 1s are limited to a 500 watt and they have no throttle. You have to pedal and make them go, where with this one you can turn on, hold the throttle down and go. So let's take a look at it here a little more. So it's actually my daughter's. She bought it for getting around town. So this is a unsponsored video as normal. Nice big 100 by 90 by 22 fat tires on it. Spoked rims. This is the 10 amp hour battery version. EMMO sells 4 different battery versions with this bike. The 10, a 15, a 21, and a 25 amp hour. All 48 volt batteries built by Samsung. So it's not an off-brand name. It's a name you can trust in lithium batteries. Now, EMMO rates it at 120 kilometer range on the bike. I'm assuming that is on the 25 amp hour battery. With this one, of course, being the 10 amp hour battery, math works out probably around 50 kilometer range. They don't get in and specify whether that range is if you're pedal assist, if you're on power. So far we've got, so far my daughter's put about 20 kilometers on it and the battery is still showing above 75%. So it might actually do the 50 on straight electric power without the battery assist. Now it does have a 7-speed Shimano SIS system on it. You can see that that first gear is a pretty tall gear compared to the other set. Now one thing I have noticed I'm not a big fan of, and I guess it's probably not a high torque chain because most people are just going to ride it under electric and not pedal. The chain is fairly weak looking compared to a lot of bikes bicycles I've had in my life. And on the upper gear you can see the marks on the tire a little bit here, maybe if the camera zooms in, but the chain does rub the tire a little bit on when you're in first gear, so that's why we're down in second gear right now. But again, like I said, this bike is kind of set up more of just use the throttle and go with pretty limited pedaling. Got a decent set of pedals on it. There's the battery right there, all integrated into it. Plastic assist handle to take the battery off and to help carry it, and the battery is locked with a legitimate key. That is a real key tumbler. Now the key does not lock the bike out from being used. The panel up top, there's a way to put a password in it. Using the controller, click and set your password to unlock and go. It's your typical Shimano SIS 7-gear shifter. You know, Shimano was always a big thing when I was younger and riding bikes. They were the cream of the crop for the most part. The SIS stuff was best on the planet at the time. Not 100% happy with this one. I've been trying to dial it in to get the shift points set better, and I just can't seem to get it. Watched a couple of YouTube videos on it, and it's supposed to be pretty easy, just adjustment of these two screws, but I don't know, maybe I'm losing my touch in all these years of not riding bikes much anymore. But again, like I said, most time you're on the throttle anyways, so not a big issue to worry about. LED headlight. Came with the rack, came with fenders. LED tail light, and actually this tail light is interesting, and I don't think it'll work with the bike is turned off, but let's turn it on here quick. The tail light is also a brake light, which is great for riding in low light conditions. When you put your brakes on, cars behind you and other riders will actually see the brake light. Now, for those who don't know, EMMO is a Canadian company. The bike is designed in Canada, and they all are tested at their factory before shipping. Bike is equipped with cable-driven disc brakes. Again, I had to do a little tweaking and set those up. They really weren't working much when it showed up. Now, we bought it online direct from EMMO, and they shipped it to us. I'm assuming if you were to go to one of their stores or one of their dealers and buy it off the shelf, the bike would be pre-assembled and all that stuff would be set up for us, ready to go. So far, my daughter is super happy with it. She can get around town, do whatever she needs, back and forth to work, no problem. She's got a friend that lives out of town. She hasn't tried to take it that far yet. In theory, she could. We had some really great off-road trails here. Old rail bed really is all it is. It's part of the snowmobile trails in wintertime, ATV multi-use trail in the summer. So yeah, it would be great zipping down that. The nice wide fat tires, got them pumped up right now to their max at 30 psi for the road running here. They say you can lower them down to 5 psi, flatten the tire out a little bit for more of an off-road or in sand traction type thing. Might be something we do in the wintertime, lower it down a little bit. So this is the entry-level version of the EWILD series, the C2. The next step up, I believe, is the Pro, and then there's the Max after that. I'm not sure, I may have those backwards a little bit. The next step up is an extra 300 bucks. With that, you get a little better front suspension. You get 5-spoke mag rims over the alloy spoke, and you get the hydraulic disc brakes. And from what I've playing around myself riding a little bit, I think that upgrade would probably be the better buy, just strictly because of the hydraulic disc brakes. The cable disc brakes, they don't seem to have as much stopping power as I'd like. I don't know what the bike weighs, but pick it up. I'm sure it's 40 or 50 pounds. It's not light by any means. You're zipping down the road. We've had it, well, I've had it at top speed of doing almost 40 kilometers an hour. When you come onto those cable disc brakes at that kind of speed with that much weight, there is a huge stopping distance to the bike, and I would hope that the hydraulic discs have a much better stopping power. Like I said, I've tweaked the brakes a little bit. They are working better than what they were out of the box. I think the upgrade with the hydraulic brakes would be the better bet for the small price difference. Now it's kind of hard to see in the sun. It is just a grayscale LED display. A pretty basic display here on the C2. Just gives you basic speed, battery, your trip meter, max speed, average speed. As you can see, it does have a 1 on it. That's the amount of power you get out of it. It's a 0 to 9 scale, so 10 different battery steps. So I'm going to clamp the GoPro to it. GPS is active with the GoPro. I hope it's picking up, and we'll go for a little zip down the road, and you'll see how well it works. Okay, we'll do a quick little acceleration test. So I'm about 215 or so pounds, 50-pound bike, 700 watt motor, and a battery that's above 70% charged. So let's see how well it goes here. Not pedaling, I'm just letting the motor do everything its own. Okay, we're going to check out how it is on a little uphill acceleration here. Let's go. Now again, I'm not pedaling, I'm just letting the bike do all the work. We were still accelerating, but I did see we only hit about 16, almost 17 kilometers an hour on the gauge before it kind of looked like it was topping out. So that is the EMMO EWILD C2. You know what? I'm not an e-bike guy. It's the first one I've ever, well, owned in our household. I don't own it. Like I said, my daughter bought it for herself. She just let me do the video on it. My dad has got one. His is only a class 1. He has to pedal. It's pretty cool. I've ridden it up down his driveway, but this is the most mileage I've ever put on one. Got a bee flying around my head here a little bit. But yeah, from what I can see, looks like a great buy. If I was buying it for myself personally, I think I'd spend a little extra, get the hydraulic disc brakes, get the mags, because I mean, I'll throw a picture up here with it. The mags are pretty cool looking, nice 5-spoke. They got almost like a turbine blade shape to them. They're pretty cool looking. But yeah, I'm pretty happy. It's pretty neat. Learned some stuff today with that power meter. It is just a pedal assist, how much power you get that way. But it'd be interesting to take something like this off-road. You know, the little bit of gravel here on the trail really doesn't show much, but yeah. Anyways, hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, please give it a like. Subscribe to the channel if you don't mind. There's a bunch of other product reviews on here, and a lot of our travels. Our next trip, we're off to the Panama Canal. So see you then. Thanks for watching.